Jennifer Valoppi is our guest, and the name of the book is Certain Cure, Where Science Meets Religion. You talk about the research in the book, and I've had a chance to look through it a little bit since I got it yesterday, and so many biblical references in it. I mean, the research of it must have taken a while to do. I mean, the story in itself is fascinating, but the research must have taken a while, right?
Well, I did an enormous amount of research, both on all these biblical prophecies and on the nanotechnology and the science that's out there today. I did an enormous amount of research, but that was so fun because it's all so fascinating. And what's interesting, too, is if you look at the stuff that's written in the Bible and then you add in some of the newer sciences like nanotechnology and quantum physics, you get a whole different picture of everything. So that's what I tried to do in the book, is sort of blend together in this fictional way how you could interpret some of the things that, were written centuries and centuries ago in a modern world. And the idea was to sort of come up with a way where all these ancient Judeo-Christian prophecies could come true today and no one would even notice it. It would just seem normal. So that's the basic premise of the book.
Yeah, you look a lot at what's going on in the Middle East, of course, the last 10 or 15 years, and you see some of these programs on TV saying, well, this is the last days and all that. I mean, it all kind of, it's in the air right now, whether you believe that or not. I mean, all these prophecies, people are thinking about things like this right now, aren't they? Maybe more than they have in the last 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, I think they are, and I think that you get asked the questions a lot, and when you really, but most people don't take the time to actually read the Bible. So when you actually look at the prophecies, and not just from the Bible, but primarily from the Old Testament, the New Testament, when you really look at those prophecies and you look at them with a fresh eye, you come to some very interesting conclusions. There's a place in the Bible where they're talking about, I think this is in Revelations, where they're talking about the end days, and they say, during those days men will seek death, but they will not find it. They will long to die, but death will elude them. Now, that to me is like one of the scariest things you could say to anyone. I mean, that was one of the inspirations for the book, because what an amazing comment, to think of that to be true. And what does that speak to? What does that say to you? Well, to me it says we're talking about immortality.
Right.
Okay, or the prospect of immortality. And it's funny because I think just about a month ago I read in the Financial Times that one of these people who is one of the predictors, he's kind of a futurist, and he goes around talking about things that will be coming up in our lifetime, said that the people that are actually alive today will be able to extend their lives long enough through some of the new breakthroughs that are going to come out in the next 10 to 20 years that you might actually still be present for the next wave, which will be immortality in science. And this is a guy who's working with NASA right now.
Wow.
It's not like some crackpot out there. So there's amazing things that people are talking about right now, in particular because computer things to go at such a rapid rate that nobody else was able to understand before. And it just, multiplies exponentially how fast we will continue to move forward.
I think most people, if they knew they could live, I don't know, maybe to 120, whatever, as long as they were in decent health, I think that's okay. You don't want to be 90 and then the next 30 years you're in bad shape. I think that's the key to living longer, right?
Oh, well, absolutely.
I mean, you don't want to be around and invalid or something. So if they can develop the technology for that, I think most people would go for that. But I don't think we're quite there yet. But hopefully we will be someday. So your book kind of touches on that a little bit. I mean, if you can put a chip in somebody and correct or cure cancer, I mean, that's a nice thought.
Well, the idea of outliving our usefulness is a really frightening thought to me.
Right.
That's a personally frightening thought. But yeah, in the book we have a nanochip, basically, nanotechnology, which is given to this woman by this mysterious doctor from China, and he's developed this nanochip, and it essentially goes in and kind of helps, finds the cancerous cells and destroys them and helps rejuvenate. It turns on the body's own mechanism for building new cells and rejuvenating them. So sort of a consequence or a byproduct of this nanotechnology is that it has this great rejuvenating power that could potentially lead to immortality. And I'll tell you just another interesting little thing on the side is the Weizmann Institute of Science, which is in Israel, had given me an award a long time ago for some of the charitable work I'd done, and they asked me to speak to a group of their donors recently. And when I was giving my speech about the book, the executive director said, you know, I almost fell off the chair when I was reading some of this stuff in your book because Weizmann has actually now, current time today, already invented a nanochip that circulates through the system and identifies cancerous cells.
Wow.
Now, it's not like the book in that it hasn't yet figured out how to turn the bad cells off and the good cells on, but through the same process, and of course I worked with a lot of doctors to devise this process. I didn't just make this up out of thin air. It is actually identifying these cancerous cells with nanotechnology, and it's brand new just in the last couple of months. So a lot of this stuff isn't so far-fetched.
Well, it's fascinating. I mean, I'm looking forward to finishing it up, and I'm sure the audience is going to want to get this book. And you've already gotten some awards for it. Congratulations on that. It's called Certain Cure, Where Science Meets Religion. Jennifer Valoppi is the author of it, and I guess the best place, all the bookstores I'm sure have it right now, right, Jennifer, or is there a place they can go to get it?
Well, I think the bookstores can mainly order it. I'm not sure if they have it in your area. If you go to certaincure.com, it'll connect you right through to a link and put it up there. The easiest thing is to order it online, and it shows up in a day or two. So that's always good.
Well, that's great, Jennifer. It's really been a pleasure to talk to you for a few minutes. Again, a big fan of watching you. Of course, as I mentioned in the email, I've had Rollin Smith, your colleague, on before. I'm looking forward to having him on again real soon. So it's good to talk to my favorite news people once in a while on the radio.
Well, give my love to Rollin when you talk to him too. And thank you so much, Doug. It's great to talk to you. You're terrific. I really appreciate it.